you give us. We move now to the agenda items relating to our various committee reports. Can I just quickly check? Commissioning Committee, David.
Two reports there. I think they're both self-evident. Wouldn't suggest to add anything.
Thank you very much. We have Investment Committee and Audit and Risk.
We had a conversation on Monday that will be documented at for the next board, Chairman. I would suggest we cover it.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. That brings me to any other business. We have the date of the next meeting. I have one item of other business. Can I just check whether anybody else has any items of other business?
Yes, there was one item.
Yes, Simon.
It's just to let the board know that this afternoon we, NHS England, will be publishing the report of the independent investigation into learning disability deaths at Southern Health Foundation Trust. Jane may want to say a word in a moment. This was a report that we commissioned following the death of a young man, Connor Sparrowhawk, in July 2013 in a unit in Oxford. And the report, which produces recommendations for the Trust for CCGs and for NHS Improvement, CQC and ourselves, is being accepted, and it contains a number of important recommendations which sync up with the work that we've already got underway around the National Learning Disability Mortality Review. So we won't say more ahead of the publication of the report this afternoon, but this is an important and serious set of findings that needs to be acted on, and the three national bodies, CQC, ourselves, with NHS Improvement, will be doing so, and NHS Improvement, as the regulator, has particular responsibilities in respect of this trust and will be acting accordingly. But Jane, I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
I don't think so. Simon, you've set out the position completely. The only thing I would add is that we have established a helpline which is up and running and will continue to run for anybody that is concerned or wants to ask for further information, and that is already established in the web, and we've got the details of that already available, and we will reinforce that later this afternoon.
One other thing unrelated to that, but just to respond to some of the questions that might have been forming in people's minds following the allocations discussion that we had, I think it's just worth clarifying that the pace of change option that the board has chosen obviously is a pro-equity pace of change allocation. Therefore, for some of the most outlying CCGs, they may not be getting real terms increases on the core CCG allocations, but I think it's worth clarifying that when you take account of the Sustainability and Transformation Fund investment, which we expect that they will receive, then in fact every CCG will be receiving for their people real terms funding increases in 16-17, and that's likely to be the position thereafter too. Just to clarify, should that doubt have formed in people's minds.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Simon. Let me just, in closing, I'm going to, in a moment, ask the board to record thanks to three members of the board who are standing down and for whom this is the last meeting. That's Tim, Kieran and Barbara. But just in case there's any resistance to that proposal, let me just say a few words about them. Tim and Kieran and Barbara have all been with us almost from the very beginning, so this is quite a change moment for us as a board. They have been pivotal members of the board, all three of them. Tim has brought to us, I think, an enormous intellectual energy and drive, and a capacity for disruption, which is hugely welcomed in a very stable system such as this, and has been the father of progeny which has grown but has not yet grown into adulthood, by which I mean the digitization of a service which we know ultimately will transform what we're able to do for patients. So, Tim, you are our Christmas gift to the people of Australia, and we wish you every good wish for your time with Telstra Health, and we know that you will thrive and have a very fulfilling time there. Kieran is one of the founding fathers of NHS England, and has been an immensely powerful influence on us, I think, in bringing us back to earth about how everything that we do, even at the high levels when we talk about allocations, comes back to patients, comes back to people. And also, I think, as he has done today, convincing us that actually it's not all about money, stupid, it's actually about behaviours. It's actually about how we influence the way in which humans and their therapists and the clinical people who deal with them behave in order to produce hugely enhanced health outcomes. Kieran's term of office has come to an end, and unfortunately the British Council have snapped him up and put him into an aircraft where even from 35,000 feet he's not been able to continue with us. So Kieran, very grateful for everything you've done. Barbara, although she's been with us at NHS England since the beginning, has been with the NHS almost, I think, since the beginning of the NHS, but...
that was a low blow.
but no, as lawyers say, as memory knoweth not to the contrary, so great has been her influence, certainly for over 41 years, I think, as a GP, as a increasingly as a manager, coming into PCTs, into SHA, and then in the fullness of time blossoming from that background into NHS England. I have to say personally she's been an extraordinary mentor to me and has done her very best to dispel the clouds of ignorance which still swirl around my head in relation to the NHS. But Barbara, as your report today demonstrated, you're somebody who's in charge of operations, somebody who delivers, somebody who's had a huge loyalty across the whole of the workforce who report to you, and much more broadly out into the NHS, and we all owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. So I'm not going to ask them to respond. What I am going to ask you to do, is that sufficient to persuade the board to offer our warmest thanks for everything these three have done and our very best wishes for their future? Thank you. We will. On that note, I declare the meeting closed. I ask the board to pass the usual resolution as to our conduct of closed business. Thank you. And thank you very much for everybody who's joined us this morning.